I bought another car. I have plenty of projects, but I couldn't help myself. So this one looks better than it actually is. So what I know about this is, I think the overheated engine like 18 years ago, and it's been sitting around since. It's mostly all there, but I really haven't done much investigation. It just got dropped off the other day, and it's been, I don't know. I still have a lot to discover. And the plan with this is not to let it sit around too much longer, and just drop this spare M30 I have here, drop it in, get a couple of mates around, and get this thing running. And I don't know, we'll see. Well, something been smoking here. Looks like horn relay. Someone been very horny. Yeah, interior is not great, but at least there's no rips in the seats, and dash is obviously cracked. Yeah, typical E28. So the other day, a couple of mates came over. We pulled the engine out. Made a huge mess here. Yeah, kinda as expected. The engine is pretty much total loss. It's all rust inside. I think crank is still salvageable, but not so sure about the rest. Yeah, rusty. The head, all crusty. I haven't measured it, but the head is probably warped as well. I was hoping to get away without buying new shocks and just, replace the bump stops and shields and stuff. But I think I had to buy new shocks as well. Like this side is thick and the other side is a skinny one. So I don't know what happened here, but yeah, I think I need to buy new shocks as well. Oh, and then clean up this mess and get that one straight in there. So it's been maybe a month since the engine came out. Been mostly procrastinating, but I've done a little bit of work as well. Done some cleaning for the parts here. Yeah, good to go back in. I've tested these injectors here, make sure they're good to go with my trusty flow bench. That's fine. This subframe, this the steering box mount, of course, that was cracked. They all are in these cars. So I made up this dowel here, reinforced the subframe. So this is good to go. And then this is the engine that's going in. So this engine came off E28, and it turns out this is 10:1 compression ratio. It's a little bit of a mystery for me. I don't know much info about these. So I measured the camshaft. It turns out it's bigger camshaft than what's found in typical low compression B34, but it's still smaller than the one in B35. And here's the dilemma. This is what really stops my progress. I tend to get carried away. So I do have B35 camshaft. So while the engine is out, it makes sense to just drop it in. It's very tempting. Also, while I'm here, I can port match these and install B35 intake as well. And M1.3 Motronic as well. Like, why not? Since I have it here. I have the wiring, ECU. While I'm here, why not pull the head and maybe just do a quick valve job as well? And that's when things get really carried away. So I tend to go down the rabbit holes and and then my projects stall and takes too long. I just need to get things done. Now finally, engine is ready to go back in, and this is how I like to do it. Engine with transmission, with the subframe, steering box, wiring, everything is a one unit. Just slide under the car and lift it in place with a hoist, bolt it up, 4 bolts, plus the steering. That's the hardest part, actually, getting the steering rod lined up, and transmission mount, and that's it. Now engine is all bolted in. What's left to do? All this plumbing and wiring, and then let's see if it starts up. Almost forgot to tighten the crank nut. Normally I would shift a car in first gear, put the handbrake on, and that's enough to hold the crank in place, or use the flywheel lock. Well, this is automatic and I can't do that, so I made up this tool out of scrap I had. Come in handy in future as well, I'm sure. Okay, I've done all the wiring. Unfortunately, we don't have spark. Not sure what the problem is, and before I go any further, trying to resolve that. This car seems to have lots of electrical issues, so I don't know. Maybe I missed some ground somewhere, unlikely, or it could have some problem in this fuse box. That's a possibility. Also, I want to start with the crank position sensor. Those two down there, reference sensor and crank position sensor. Make sure we have crank signal. I think there are a couple of ways to do it, and I got my oscilloscope set up. So, how it works in these early Motronics. They have 2 sensors in the bell housing. One of them picks up the starter teeth, another one picks up this piece of metal and the flex plate or flywheel once per revolution. What could happen, since the sensors are identical, it's possible to mix them up and then car won't start. So for now, just try to make sure I got signal from these sensors, and I'm expecting one sensor have, well, however many teeth here, and then once per revolution I got one of them. I'll wire them both up. So the top one is the starter teeth, and that's the reference here. Now I repeated this same test, but probing at the ECU, and what I found was intermittent signal to the ECU, which is not actually surprising given this wiring hack in here. I meant to test all of this, make sure all the wiring is good before the engine went in, but I got a little bit too impatient. I wanted to move on, and well, now I had to deal with this. Now with the wiring fixed, it started right up. That's a good motivation booster. Now I can carry on, finish all the cooling system, and pull out the petrol tank or fuel tank, so I don't have to run this sketchy system here. Fuel tank is all rusty, of course. Another issue I had to fix. So I have this oil cooler set up temporarily here because the original oil cooler is missing. So this one is of E23. So is this one here. So I have two E23 oil coolers and no spare E28 coolers, and they look identical almost, except this curve here. On E28, this pipe has the curve in it, so it's not one-to-one match, and of course these hoses are not identical anyways. I had to either find E28 oil cooler or I had to make this one fit. I think I'm trying to make this one work in E28 by cutting the pipe in E28 pipe and then weld it back together. I could make custom hoses as well, I don't know. I try to make this one fit somehow. And speaking of oil system, I had a bit of a scare here with the lack of oil pressure. When I installed the engine, I had spark plugs out, so the engine would turn over faster, and I would crank it over solid couple of minutes straight and still no oil pressure. So what I did, I opened the oil filter and that was completely dry. And so when I got the engine started, I guess it had enough engine speed to get the oil pump really cranking, and then it primed the system finally. I tried to avoid pulling the fuel tank out, but may as well do it now. I think it's the right thing to do. It's very crusty inside. Fuel tank is back in. I noticed the engine was running a bit rough, so I started pulling the spark plug wires one at a time, and I quickly identified cylinder number 1 was not firing. So I checked the spark was good, so the next step must be injector. I checked the signal to the injector, signal was good. Then I put the long screwdriver to the injector body, and listening, it was ticking. So what could the problem be? I knew the injector was flowing good. I flow tested them beforehand, so they were all good. So maybe it got a piece of rubbish in the lines, because I was again a little bit impatient and I didn't purge the fuel lines maybe properly, and maybe some rubbish got into this injector. I pulled it apart, cleaned it out, and now it's running on all 6. Now, front brakes. We need new discs and pads, minimum, and probably rebuild the calipers as well. It's been sitting for a while. I do have a set of E34 brakes. Here's the comparison. So E28 disc. So yeah, E34 discs are quite a bit larger. I think it's a good upgrade. It makes sense to buy new pads and discs, but there's plenty of meat left on those pads, and I try to clean the discs. Should be fine. It's time to sort out the exhaust. I have lots of options and none of them are good. So this one came with a car. Muffler is missing and the pipe has been hacked up. I got another one of E28. Again, it's been hacked up. And the muffler is very noisy. I don't like it. Another issue with this exhaust is, since the engine is high compression ratio version without O2 sensors, which means if this catalytic converter isn't clogged up yet, the new engine will clog it up quickly. This exhaust is actually the exhaust for this engine, but it's from E23, so it's different chassis and it doesn't fit directly, so it requires modifications, and I don't know if I could even make it work in E28. E28 is really tight in this area here, so I don't think this is worth modifying. I have some scrap in here, and I could make something up from scratch, but that will take time, and I just want to get this car registered. Actually, I have a couple mufflers here for E28. This is very rusty, no good. Same with this one. There's some loose bits inside there and rusty. I don't know what to do. Exhaust is all installed. I went with path of least resistance. I ended up installing this stupid muffler there. At first I installed the cat only, and I have this adapter in the O2 sensor hole. That's a piece of brake line and pressure gauge. So I wanted to make sure the cat is not completely clogged up, and it seems to be fine. It's not fully conclusive, but it's not terrible at least. So since the last update, I've replaced all the rubber brake lines. One of them was actually clogged, so it was definitely a good idea to replace all of them. Replace the fluid and bled the brake system, of course. The front suspension, I didn't really want to spend too much money on it, so I used the parts I had laying around, mixed and matched a half decent set actually. So the front suspension at least should be good enough to pass tech inspection. There's still some pushing is required at the back. So I've done quick test drive, and the good thing is it does work. The car drives. I haven't got up to speed to see if all the gears are shifting and if there's any vibrations or any of that, but anyways, it drives. So I haven't put the front clip back together yet, since I'm troubleshooting some electrical issues, so it's a little bit easier to work on it if there is less, stuff in the way. With electrical, there's a lot of things are not working. Actually, most electrical is not working. Like no lights, no wipers, basically nothing works. But bigger issue seems to be is the brakes. I think there's several issues with brakes, and not just a single, but I could be wrong. So first thing, the brake boost assist, or the hydro boost, seems to be not working correctly. We've got the electrical working now. It was mostly bad connections in fuse box and some other dodgy wiring. It's starting to look like a car again. And I'm not doing restoration here. I'm repairing this car at the moment. It's like this bumper alignment is not very great, and there's so many cosmetic issues. Now the remaining big issue with this car is the brake situation. I'm pretty sure it's the bomb, or whatever you call it, this thing. I got a spare one here. I'm pretty sure it's a good one. Access is very poor. It's down there in that hole. I'll try swap that over, and hopefully the brakes are good after that. I was procrastinating for a while because I knew it's going to be frustrating. It's going to take a while. Gonna leak fluids everywhere. Anyways, it took me like 10 minutes. Job done. There's the old one. New one is in there. I haven't done my test drive yet, but I'm pretty confident the brakes are fixed now. The pedal feels much better now. Well, I'm getting very close to taking this car to MOT. One of the last remaining issues I'm still having is the oil level sensor is faulty. And when I installed it, silly me, I didn't double check. So, check engine light shows up in the dashboard, and although I know there is enough oil in the engine, MOT mechanic, they don't like any warning lights. I do have known good sensor here. I could just swap it out, but that means I'd have to drain the oil, and I don't really feel like making the mess right now. So what I'm going to do instead, so I made up this pigtail with a 1 kilo ohm resistor installed in here, which matches the resistance of the good sensor. I'm going to plug it in. That should delete the warning light, and next oil change I swap the sensor. Now, to my surprise, this 1 kilo ohm resistor didn't actually work. I don't know why. So here's the oil level sensor. It's a float, and with a low oil level with open circuit, and if I flip it upside down, now it's the normal oil level, and we got 1 kilo ohm resistance. And I actually tested this. I plugged this in and I hung this sensor upside down, mimicking normal oil level with 1 kilo ohm. Oil light went out. I'm not sure why this my contraption didn't work, because they had exactly 1 kilo ohm resistor here. Then I tried this, actually short circuited this this connection here, and that had no effect. So I'm a little bit confused. I had this idea, maybe, so it has 2 pins, but maybe it picks the ground from the body. So that could be it. Well, let's test it. Let's see. Yes, it does. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Because I noticed we have this little seepage here. The drain plug is actually leaking slowly and dripping oil. So I'm gonna stop wasting time with this temporary hacks. Drain the oil, swap the sensor, fix the oil leak, and it's done. More problems. I have issue with cooling. So a brand new expansion tank, brand new coolant level sensor. When the car gets hot, the sensor popped off, and so it takes hardly any force to screw this on. It strips immediately. It barely holds on. So I did a little bit of research and measuring. So this, actually I bought 2 tanks for another car as well. So basically brand new parts are crap. At least this brand parts are no good. So this nipple is too small, and this one is too big, so it's just loose fit. So I've replaced the locking nut from the old piece. Hopefully it's tight enough, it will hold the pressure. Can't throw anything away nowadays. Another cooling issue I'm having is the fan clutch is no good. I didn't want to buy a new clutch because I was going to convert this to electric fan anyways. I just want to get through MOT and see if I have another used clutch in storage. Well, hopefully one of those clutches is good enough for now. This one I had in storage, and in cold it's much stiffer already. It became easier to spin when warm. More dramas. Alternator belt alignment was pretty bad. And I was pretty sure it's due to these worn rubber bushings. So this morning I popped in new bushings, and actually the old ones weren't that bad, except for this one obviously. That didn't fix the belt alignment at all. It's exactly the same. Well, I thought, what could it be? So I started taking the pulley apart and removing shims. And I sensed that something is off, like it can't be like that. Then I started investigating a little further. So it turns out the alternator mounting bracket is not actually in a straight line. There's a 5mm offset. So that's kind of interesting. And so there's offset in here in these pins, depending on which way these pins are installed. And these pins were mounted both the same orientation, just like the top one here. So now I'm pretty confident the bottom meant to face that way and the top one that way, and that should fix my belt alignment. Again, it highlights the same mistake I've done many times before. So somebody obviously have messed with this before, and these pins were installed incorrectly, and I assumed that this is the way it meant to be, you know, but you can never assume anything. So I had to double check, and it's much quicker and easier to do it in the first go. When engine was out, it was actually very easy to adjust and check this. So today I spent hours pulling this alternator out like 3 times and scratching my head, and it's just frustrating, you know, wasting my time like this. Hopefully I can take my own advice and really start like double checking and do it once, do it right kind of way. I'm gonna pop this in, and this better fix the problem right now. So here's the final list I was going through, one at a time. It took longer than I hoped, but as you see, there's actually one thing is not crossed off. It's a power steering leak. It's not a connection issue somewhere, it's actual steering box is leaking. But I'm getting impatient. I'm not gonna fix it now. I put on temporary permit. I go to MOT, and if it fails, it fails, but I'll fix this regardless, first thing. Take some tools with me, just in case. Not that I need them. I have full confidence in this car. I will take it straight to cross-country trip, but maybe I need to help somebody and is stuck on the side of the road. So the car is registered now, and I've been driving this for 2 weeks. Haven't broke down yet. There's plenty of improvements to be still made, but at least it's working. And I think imperfect daily driver E28 is better than perfect garage queen that never gets driven. I'm still planning to fix a lot of things up, but for now I just keep driving. Overall, I enjoyed bringing this car back to life. I didn't enjoy when I had to redo a couple things several times. That was pretty annoying. And I ended up spending more than I was hoping. But yeah, things are expensive nowadays. Just the car battery and all the fluids cost nearly $1,000. Plus the gaskets and some bushings and some cooling bits. Again, a few $1,000s gone just like that. I think overall, this car owes me maybe around $5,000, which I think is still pretty good value. After I fix a couple more things in this car, it's above average E28, and I did enjoy the process, so I think it's all good. There was a lot more work involved getting this car to this state than I showed in the video. I didn't have time to film everything, and the video would have been too long anyways. I showed maybe 20% of the whole process. Anyways, I think let's wrap it up here.